All right, hi everybody. So today I am doing my video recording of just me writing, and I'm doing a little voiceover over top. So I'm just starting with the date here. This is the Wednesday lesson, and the date is April 22nd, 2020. Okay, and just to make it clear, these are the math notes of the day. So let's get into it. So what I'm going over today is it's going to be a long division review. Okay, so I know a lot of you remember long division and are pretty good at it, but I'm going to be getting into more complicated long division, which you might have forgotten, and so this is just going to be a quick refresh. Okay, so I'm going to start out with letters here to define division. So A divided by B equals C. So C is our quotient. So excuse that, spelled quotient wrong for a second. But the reason I'm using numbers or letters instead of numbers is to show that any number could be there. So when I take A divided by B equals C and I need to put it into long division form, I'm going to put my long division symbol, and then on the inside will be my A, on the outside's my B, and then on top will be my answer, which is the quotient C. Okay, so I'm just redrawing now the long division symbol. It's kind of, you can think of it like a sideways L, or it's like a parenthesis with a line over top. So I wanted to be super official with you guys, and so I looked up the official name of the long division symbol, and you guys, it doesn't have one. And I think that's unfair, and quite frankly, I think it's pretty lame that it's only called the long division symbol. So I'm giving it a new name today, and I'm going to call it the Zoop Zap. And I don't know about you, but I think that's way more fun. So from now on, I'm calling the long division symbol a Zoop Zap. And just to bring home the fun, I'm tracing over it one more time. In a second here, we're going to go over the skills needed. All right, here we go. So the skills that you need in order to do long division, there's actually quite a few, which you probably know, but we're going to review them really quick. So the first one is, obviously, you need to know how to do division. That's a given. Okay, so when we're doing long division, we need to understand what division is. The second skill is we need to know how to do multiplication. Division is really, really hard if you don't know your multiplication facts. So you don't have to know them right away, but it's something that we should be able to get to. The third skill is subtraction. And lastly, and this one's I'm being a little picky with, but it's organization. Okay, organization's so important because there's a lot of steps, right? And if we don't have good organization, we might reuse a number or forget a number, or it might get so mixed up that we end up finding the wrong answer. So let's get into some examples. The very first one is going to be 332 divided by 4. And then I'm going to put an equal side and a blank. So this is a division problem that some people might be able to figure out in their heads, but let's just say, for the sake of it, that you can't figure it out without doing long division, so that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to draw my Zoop Zap, and inside, because the first number is 332, that's what goes inside my Zoop Zap, and on the outside is going to be the 4, what I'm dividing into. Now let me catch up with my writing. I'm asking myself, how many times does 4 go into that first digit 3? Okay, and it goes in 0 times because 4 is bigger than 3. So I'm going to write a 0 above the 3, and then my next step is to multiply. 0 times 4 is 0, so I'm going to write that right underneath. Then my next step is I'm going to subtract. So 3 minus 0 is 3, and then my last step of this number is I bring down the next digit, which is a 3. So my new number is 33. Then I'm going to repeat all of these steps. So the next thing that I'm looking at is I'm going to ask myself again, how many times does 4 go into 33? And 4 goes into 33, maybe I'm not sure how many times. So on the side right here, I'm just working out different multiples of 4 and see which one's the closest to 32 without going over. So here I'm at 4 times 8 equals 32, which is really close, but I'm going to try one more just to see. And 4 times 9 is 36, which is too much. So I know my answer has to be 8 because that's the closest number without going over. So I'm going to write an 8 right above the second digit of 332 in the quotient spot. Now what I just did was I put the 32 underneath the 33 and I'm going to subtract. 33 minus 32 is 1, and then I bring down the last digit, which is 2, to get 12 as my new number. Then I'm checking how many times does 4 go into 12. Maybe I need to do some work on the side. 4 times 3 is 12. I'm good to go. So I'm going to write that 3 above the 2 spot in the quotient area. Okay, so then I'm going to multiply. 3 times 4 was 12. Write that underneath the 12. 12 minus 12 is 0. And so I'm done. I have no remainder, and I can say, yay, go math. My final answer is 83, and I'm going to continue examples on the back. So here's the back of my paper, and the first example that I'm going to do is I'm going to find 663 divided by 9. Okay, so again, I'm going to assume that I can't figure out this problem without doing long division, and so I'm going to set up my Zoop Zap. So on the inside, as always, is that first number, 663, and I'm going to divide by 9 on the outside of my Zoop Zap. Okay, so I'm asking myself, what I just did there was I checked how many times does 9 go into 6? It's 0 times. And then I'm going to multiply 0 times 9 gave me 0, subtract, and then I'll bring down. So my new number is 66. So on the side, I'm checking how many times does 9 go into 66 with some work. I started out with 9 times 5, too small. Now I'm up to 9 times 7. Let's see how close that one is. I get 63. Now 63 is really close, but I'm going to go one more up to just check. 9 times 8, 72. That's too much. So I know that 9 times 7 was the closest, so 7 is what's going to go above that second digit, 6. And 7 times 9 was 63, so I write that underneath 66, subtract, and I get 3. Then I need to bring down that other 3. And now my new number is 33. How many times does 9 go into 33? Let's do some work on the side. 9 times 2, I know that's 18. 9 times 3 is 27. Let's check one more. 9 times 4 is 36. See, that one too big. So that means I have to stick with 9 times 3. So I'm going to write a 3, and then I write down the 27 at the bottom and subtract. 33 minus 27, I'm just doing a little subtraction work, and I will get the answer 6. Now I have no other numbers to bring down, so that's my final answer. I get 73, and then I get a remainder of 6. Now, in next videos, we're going to go further with not having a remainder as our answer, but right now, this is all you need to do. So now, let's have you try. So I want you to go try and find a sheet of paper somewhere and just copy this problem down. We're going to do 861 divided by 8. Put that in a Zoop Zap and try and solve it using the skills that we went over today. And then in just a second, I will share the answer with you. But go ahead, pause the video and give it a try yourself. Okay, so hopefully you have your answer in front of you. I'm drawing my Zoop Zap with 861 inside, 8 on the outside. Asking myself how many times 8 go into 8. That's 1 time. 8 times 1 is 8. I'm subtracting now to get 0. Bring down that 6, the next digit. Then I ask how many times 8 go into 6. That's 0 times. 8's bigger than 6. 0 times 8 is 0. 6 minus 0 is 6. Bring down the next digit, which is 1. Now I have 61, so I'm asking myself, how many times does 8 go into 61? I'm just going to start with 8 times 5. That's an easy one to get 40. 8 times 6 is 48. I'm just adding 8 each time. 8 times 7 is 56. It's getting closer. 8 times 8 is 64, which is too big, right? So that can't be it. So 7 has to be my answer. So I write 7 at the top. 7 times 8 I just found was 56. 61 minus 56, I have to do some subtraction skills. And I get the final answer of 5. So 5 is my remainder here. So I found 107. So 8 went into 861 107 times, and it has 5 left over. Okay, so if it had 5 more, it would be a full 861, but it's not quite there. So that is my final answer. Alright, hey guys, so I'm just now popping in. As you can see, I'm doing this in my PJs because we all have those days, okay? This is a crazy time. I really wanted to get that across today. I know everyone's a little overwhelmed with all the work that's being shoved your way, and I want you guys to just keep doing the best you can, and just know I'm here for you. And I have bad days too, so I understand if you have bad days, okay? And just know that I'm here to help. Okay, so the few things that I wanted to touch on was your work for today. Make sure that you do the check-in. That's on the next slide. The next thing is the practice game today is a gim kit. When you click it, just make sure that your name is in there, okay? Don't put a random name because then I can't give you points for it. So make sure your name's in there, work through it. You have to get up to $300,000, okay? And all those ones is it's going to have something like, it'll do like 55 divided by 10. Okay, and all I want is, even though 10 doesn't perfectly go into 55, all I want is the answer would be 5 because it goes into 55 5 times without going over. So it's kind of that little skill that you have to have in long division. That's what the gim kit's on. So that's the next thing you have to do. And lastly is the homework. It's going to take you to a website where you're going to do long division problems. Like, you'll have to type in everything into little boxes. Now, this isn't linked to anything, so I can't see your answers. So when you get to the end of the screen, you have to do 16 problems. When you get to the end, make sure you somehow take a picture or something to prove that you got to the end. There's a little like guy at the bottom, and he's like, "You're done." I don't remember exactly what he says, but he's got a little graduation cap on. You got to get a picture of him and put it into the slideshow somehow. If you can't figure out how to put it into the slideshow, then seriously, take a picture somehow. You have to have evidence. And send it to me like through Instagram, through Remind, anything. I got all that information on the very last slide. Great job, guys. Hang in there. I know you can do it. Remember, due Friday. You guys can do it.